What is up, YouTube? Just wanted to make a short video here about how to remove your rocker box covers because you want to change them, or the gaskets are leaking, or for whatever reason you want them powder coated, you want the black ones, anything of that nature. This will be applicable. Now, I just saw a video hit the internet about how to install a curved license plate bracket. Like that one. Right there. So, if you can't figure out how to take out two half-inch head bolts and remove your rear tail lights and your license plate, then turn this video off right now because this ain't for you. However, if you are still around and you kind of want to learn some tips and tricks, you came to the right spot. So here we go. Let's get started. You got to get rid of the tank. Tank's got to come off. There's a bolt in the front and a bolt in the back, another bolt in the back, and another one in the front on this side. You take those out. You disconnect the electrical connector. That would be the gray one there, and there's a line right here. This line gets disconnected, and then there's another vent tube that runs down there with just a zip tie that's on the frame here. You just cut it and the line pulls right out. And then you pop off your actual fuel input and remove the tank. Try not to do it full because it is pretty heavy when it's full. Not super heavy to where you can't do it, but it just makes it awkward because it's awkward to grab, and with it being heavy, it's that much more of a pain. You will have to, once you get that far, you have to disconnect quite a few sensors in order to keep going. If we go on this side of the bike, also I have the bike on a jack. You probably could do it on the ground or on the stand, but just having it straight upright just makes it a little bit easier, so you're not bent over on this side, kind of in an awkward spot. Just makes it a little bit easier. Sorry for the mess in the garage too. It's spring cleaning around here, but you will have to disconnect your compression reliefs for both of them, and they just plug in right here. And then this is the other one, and that plugs in right up there. You'll disconnect that, remove the spark plug wires. You don't have to take the plugs out. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. Both fuel injectors get disconnected. Black is on the rear, gray is for the front. Also your knock sensors. Your knock sensors, they are located. Right now I have them tucked up here behind the spark plug wire so they're not dangling. Well, I did anyways. But the knock sensors are actually located right here on the head. If you need an Allen, and then you'll loosen that up, and they're not real tight. They should come out right away. And then that bolt comes out, remove the knock sensor, and I just put the bolt back in so I remember where it goes. And your engine mount on the front, the plate has to come off. You can leave the bar, but the plate has to come off. This is the plate that we're talking about. Actually sits on there just like that. That's got to come off, and all of this is being done mostly in order to get rid of the oil lines, because as you know, the heads are cooled on the Milwaukee 8 via oil. So there's an oil line that runs from the oil cooler up here across the top of the heads, across, and comes to the back side of this head back here, and then there's the hose that it connects to, which drains back into the oil pan. The hoses are actually real simple. They have just the spring clamps on them. You can use pliers or channel locks. I don't really advise it. I don't like it because there's not a lot of room. Several companies out there do make a tool that is like this. And what that does is it goes over both sides of it, and then you squeeze. Sorry, I'm holding the phone. And when you squeeze, I don't know if you can see that moving or not, and then it'll lock. And now the clamp is held open, and you can slide the clamp off, and then you can just release it and move on to the next clamp. Makes things really easy. Also, if you're working on cars or something like that too, radiator hoses, sometimes the factory puts them in a bad spot and you can't get to them with a pair of pliers. So that comes in really handy. It's on like a 2-foot width, so it's real nice. I'm not saying run out and buy one, but it comes in handy. Now, as far as the actual oil line goes, you'll take off the front hose. You can see the stem right there. You'll loosen the clamp, pop it off, and the rear too, you'll loosen the clamp and pop the hose off. And then there is a 3/8 head bolt, 2 on each side. And I'll come over here and I'll show you the oil cooler lines. This is the oil cooler line assembly right here. And this rubber hose does stay on. That's the front side. It does have a crimp clamp on it, and you don't have to break that when there's the removable clamp down a little bit further. I will suggest when you do this that you do replace the O-rings that are here. They probably are reusable, but for 49 cents I would just buy 4 new O-rings. So you'll take those off. They do take a little bit of effort because they are hard lines. You'll have to pry them a little bit off of each head and get that 1/4 inch part of the tube out of the cylinder head, and then just kind of wiggle them off, and they'll come off. But all those lines and wires and sensors and the fuel injectors and all that stuff, if you left all that plugged in, those lines would never come out. So you gotta take all that stuff off. The front cylinder is far easier than the rear as far as accessibility goes. You can pretty much get to all the bolts relatively easy. I didn't really have a problem with the front cylinder at all. The rear cylinder, however, where the frame drops down right here, it's real tight for the 2 bolts that are down in here. There's one, and then there's one over there. They are a pain to get to. And even for these 2 up here, they're a little bit of a hassle. They're not bad, but they're a little bit of a hassle. I used just 1/4 inch, just a regular 1/4 inch, and it's a 7/16 socket. And what you have to do in order to get to these is kind of slide the wrench in this way and flip it down right on the bolt, and then you can turn it. You're not going to be able to turn it much, but you can turn it. And what you have to do is you have to loosen it as far as it'll go till the wrench hits the frame, and then tighten it, and loosen it and tighten it, and loosen it and tighten it, and loosen it and tighten it. Now, if you got a wrench like mine, it'll get buried up there, and you can't reach the thing to flip the ratchet. So you take a screwdriver or a small pick or something and push it, and you could switch the ratchet back to tighten, and then loosen and tighten and loosen. And the reason why you do that is because these bolts have a Loctite type material on them, and it makes the threads real tight. You can see that yellowish stuff on the threads. It makes the threads real tight, so you can't just crack it loose and try and work it out with your finger. It's not going to happen. They're really tight. once you've worked it a couple times in and out, in and out, in and out, you can take the socket by itself and you can sit it in there. I'm not going to show you because I'll lose it. I only got one hand. You can sit it in there like that, and then you can use both fingers and spin it out all the way until it gets up high enough to where the socket hits, and then you can reach in there up through this way. You can reach in there and spin it with your finger, and then they'll come out. But they are a pain. To get this far, it took me probably about an hour, which I don't think was too bad at all. Some people are saying, oh, it's a total pain and don't do it and this, that, the other thing, but it wasn't that bad. And I didn't take the lowers off yet because I just wanted to make the video and kind of give you guys some tips about removing these. If you guys want to buy the black ones that Harley sells, or if you want them powder coated, or for whatever reason you might have an oil leak or something like that and you don't want to take it to the dealer, I would recommend taking it to the dealer, because if you got a Milwaukee 8, it's still under warranty. And just let it be their problem. But changing parts and stuff like that, they're not going to cover on warranty or on your own. So I hope this helps quite a few of you guys. I haven't really seen a video out there yet giving some tips and tricks about this. So feel free to like, comment, ask questions. Let me know what you think. See you guys later.